years in sales and sales leadership, I've noticed something. Many organizations today are measuring everything: calls, emails, meetings, activity, but they struggle to answer one simple question: are we actually growing revenue? Somewhere along the way, sales leadership shifted from managing markets to managing dashboards. Now, don't get me wrong, metrics can be helpful, but when activity becomes the goal instead of the outcome, something breaks. Now, I've seen salespeople make hundreds of calls, send countless emails, fill their calendars with meetings, still not have a deal move forward. And I've seen experienced reps have 2 or 3 conversations and generate millions of dollars in business, because activity doesn't equal progress. Activity creates motion. Progress creates outcomes. There's another side to this that doesn't get talked about enough as well, and that is the impact on the salesperson. Now, I've had many reps tell me the same thing. They don't have time to think strategically, understand their market, build long-term relationships, because they're spending their time trying to hit activity numbers. And a lot of that behavior is driven by one thing: fear. Fear of missing the benchmark and what that might mean. But it doesn't just affect the salesperson, it also affects the customer. Customers can tell when a call isn't meaningful. They know when the phone rings every couple of weeks and there's nothing important to discuss. That doesn't build trust. It creates noise. So how did we get here? In many organizations, sales leadership has evolved into this. In highly structured KPI-driven environments, managers have learned how to read dashboards, track activity, and monitor metrics, but not always how to navigate complex sales. And complex sales are different. They require patience, strategy, relationship building, understanding multiple stakeholders, navigating long buying cycles. And if you're working in public sector, the complexity increases even more. But now you're going to deal with RFP rules and regulations, government engagement guidelines, defined buying cycles, and often grant funding that impacts timing. That's a very different kind of sale. And if a manager hasn't experienced that environment, coaching can default to something simple like just increase activity, add more meetings, touch the account again. But that's not always what moves the deal forward. In fact, it can kill the deal. So if activity isn't the answer, what actually moves a deal forward? When I'm working with a rep on a deal, I focus on a simple framework: 5 questions. 1, who is the decision maker? Not who are you talking to, but who actually makes the decision. 2, who's the champion? Who inside the organization wants this to happen? Because if you don't have a champion, you probably don't have a deal. 3, how will they buy, especially in public sector? This matters. Is it going through an RFP, a contract vehicle, a cooperative? If you don't understand the buying path, the deal can stall quickly. And number 4, what problem are you solving and how important is it? If it's not tied to a real opportunity, it's not going anywhere. 5, what is the next real step? Not just follow-up, but a meaningful step that moves the deal forward. You'll notice that I didn't ask how many calls did you make, because coaching isn't about activity, it's about progress and strategy. Now, let's talk about pipeline, because not all pipeline is real. Most organizations have 2 pipelines, the one in CRM and the one that actually closes. And they're not always the same. Fake pipeline looks like this: no decision maker, no champion, unclear buying process, weak problem definition, no real next step. It's activity, not opportunity. And sometimes it's not even driven by the sales team, especially in public sector. Some of that pipeline is what I call the Me Too deals. You're responding to an RFP not because you're in a strong position to win, but because the customer needs a third quote or management's pushing you to respond. So you show up in the process, but you were never really in the deal. That may look like pipeline in the CRM, but it's never really an opportunity. The problem is fake pipeline creates false confidence. And when those deals don't close, forecasts fall apart. Real pipeline is different. It has access to decision makers, a strong champion, a defined buying path, a real problem tied to priority, and clear next steps. That's not just pipeline, that's opportunity. So what does all this mean? It means sales leadership comes down to one simple idea: managing for revenue. Not managing activity, managing outcomes. Managing for revenue means coaching strategy, not just tracking activity, understanding how customers actually buy, helping your team navigate complex decisions, focusing on real opportunities. And in environments like public sector, it also means understanding procurement pathways, RFP processes, funding cycles. Because if you miss those, activity won't save the deal. Great sales leadership isn't about control. It's about clarity, coaching, and trust. Now, over my career, I've seen a lot of different sales organizations. The ones that consistently grow are the ones that stay focused on outcomes, not just activity. Because at the end of the day, you're not managing activity. You're managing for revenue. Thanks for watching.